Good evening, dear racing fans out there. This is the MRS Season 2 finale here in Singapore. Glad you're with us here for this evening tonight. And yeah, I'm back in case you missed me the last 2 weeks. I admit that I'm not doing so well. Or I am, yeah, considered that I am a COVID case. I am doing pretty well. But it just was not good enough the last 2 weeks to broadcast a live stream. And for tonight, after 2 weeks now, exactly 2 weeks today, it is improving, and I will try my best. I might be a little bit more silent than you're used to, but nevertheless, I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be here for the season finale of season 2. We will start season 3 on F1 in after a 2 weeks break. So we will start on August 28 with a race in Interlagos, Brazil. And for tonight, our champion is already safe. It is Peter Simpson. Congratulations, he snatched it last week when I sadly was inactive. Thomas Walsh is too far away. He cannot chase him for the crown anymore here tonight. But there is still something open. There are still a few midfield battles, and the Constructors' Championship is still open, as Jack Rockney and Mixner is the lone Ferrari driver. His teammate Jan Vandebril said he is unable to race for the last 2 races of this season. And so it is. So Rocknan is alone here tonight. He and his Ferrari team has a gap of 28 points on P2, that is Renault. So it is all about for Rocknan to make enough points to stay ahead of both the Renaults. And with 28 points, that should be possible. But who knows? We are here in Singapore, night race, beautiful pictures here on these opening screens. But Singapore is really always a race that delivers a lot of chaos. Rain is possible, tons of safety car, tons of crippled, broken front wings on the nearby walls. It is still the track with the most turns, 23 as a number. It is very long, it is very narrow in terms or in some turns. It is a very slow track, so it is very long. In the real life, we have seen multiple races that were very close to the 2-hour barrier. And for the quali, it is already night. For the quali, we have dry conditions here in the pit lane. 18 minutes started. We have 15 drivers, what is actually quite a good number as the new game is already out. The first messages in the chat box. Hello, Andrew Mond and Jack Rocknan. Thanks for your nice warm words. I missed it too, I admit. The first Wednesday I was really unable to attend anything, but last week my body would have let me do so, but I just couldn't speak enough. So yes, I admit I really missed it too, and I'm happy and glad to be back here for this season finale. First driver who is out is, I don't know, I think it was Rognan. Yes, it is Jack Rognan, the torpedo Jack. And I always stay with the first man who is out on the track to get a bit of feel for the track, especially in Singapore. That's very important. Jack Rognan with the all black helmet here tonight. Mostly black and a little bit of green, I think it is. So we see a few drivers who try their each first hot lap on mediums. That is Mike Taylor. That is Stuart McDonald, Leonard Kemp, and Jack Rockland. And while we watch Rockland travel through his outlap, I already mentioned it's a fight Ferrari against Renault. Rockland, must survive with a gap of 28 points. So to speak, as long as he is on the podium, everything's fine. If he is not on the podium, we need to have a look at the numbers, what the Renaults do. But it's not the only fight. There is still something open for Racing Point versus Williams. That is the battle for third in Constructors. Racing Point, we watch him here on his hot lap now on this very narrow track. Turn after turn after turn, and wall next to wall next to wall. Yeah, third and fourth, Racing Point versus Williams. The Williamses are 12 points behind the pink car. Williams driven by Kantan and Blake Gary. They are both active for tonight. The Racing Points, Tom Walsh is there. And Mike Taylor is too. So the battle for third in Constructors is loaded. Everyone available tonight. And driver-wise, there are still some midfield battles open too. The midfield battles, that is battle for P8. Andrew Mont, Mark Goodman and Mike Taylor. Mont and Goodman, both the Alpha Tauris involved. Andrew Mont 6 points ahead of Goodman and 10 points ahead of Mike Taylor. And then one very interesting battle, that is Renault versus Williams. Blake Gary in 11th, 2 points ahead of Ricky Kuau. So that's the most important battle that is going on. The top 3 are already set and finished. That is Peter Simpson, Thomas Walsh and Jack Rockner, this man here, who posts 136.9 on his mediums in the first try. That's not bad, but I think it will not stand too long on P1. I suppose there will be some drivers able to blast this on softs. Yeah, the first 3 are set. Peter Simpson, Tom Walsh and Jack Rockner. And 4th is Khan Tan. He is more or less safe too. And 5th will be Dominic Walsh. When he makes up when he makes at least 2 points. So Dominic Walsh needs to be in the top 9, and then the champion of season 1 will be 5th in our overall standings at the end of season 2. So that's more or less all that matters for the battles. I will try to keep you updated and some overview about that as the race continues. And what else is important for MRS in general or overall? We have one new admin. So Peter Simpson's championship qualified him for the admin team, so to say. He is now the third man in the admin team, or actually the fourth, but only 2 of those 4 are active because sadly David Lawson has decided that he will step down, at least for the moment. He is still member of the league and he is still member of the admin team, but sadly he said for some family issues he cannot make it in the last few in the next few weeks, days, weeks, months or so. I hope that he will return to us very soon. And Peter Simpson is out. I don't see where or how, but he is grey, so No quality time for Peter Simpson, the first Renault to start in the very back, and that will be a major setback for Renault's try to make up 28 points on the Ferrari. I didn't see him crash anywhere. I saw yellow on the start-finish straight. But yellow in quali doesn't always say what's happening. The yellow is sometimes just for letting another driver pass. Yeah, anyway, so the first man in the last row is already set. While we see meanwhile Thomas Walsh posting a pole time. There was some Mercedes debris laying in the tunnel. So some issues for any Mercedes there. Thomas Walsh in first could not make it happen to defend the Walsh title in this year. Kantan just barely behind him by 23 thousandths of a tenth, 3/10 under gap to third man. The killer, that is Ricky Kuau. Fourth, Blake Gary. Fifth, Nevis Ikic, returning to the active roster after some weeks of inactivity for him in the summer. And here's a new pole setter. Dominic Walsh makes the front row a whole Walshian row. Dom ahead of his brother Tom, just 68 thousandths, and Kantan with 91 thousandths, still in 1/10. All these three guys. P7 now, Jack Rognian, the one who had his first shot on mediums. 8, then Grimo Goodman. In P9, our single Scotsman Leonard Cam. Stuart McDonald, typical Scottish name. In P10, RP Lee, L-I-E. I'm not too sure how to pronounce him for the rest of the evening, but it was either himself or his fan, Tellem MC, who just cheered him on in our chat box. Then we have P11, Mark Taylor, first one with 3 tire options as things stand. P12, Andrew Mont. 13, Mercyman, that's Martin Bott. P14, another new name reserving here for this final race. FX Chef, probably a very good cook. 15, Thriller Gorilla. And yeah, in last position now, as he is out, that is Peter Simpson. Jack Rognian is back on another hard lap here, trying to post some competitive lap time on the softs. He is 9/10, exactly 9 behind Dom Walsh, but that time was from his hot lap on mediums, so there is a lot of improvement possible for him. Who else is on a hot lap? Let's maybe jump to him. There he is, Mr. Lai. RP Lai, RP LIE, I don't know. Still searching for name, how to pronounce him in the white black cars. Didn't like this livery too much, but compared to the nowadays Haas, it is really beautiful. He is reaching the end of sector 2 in a bit. There it is, 4/10, his improvement. That would only give him one position ahead. One position ahead. There was an Alfa Romeo waiting. Has to be Ikic, who went very, very fair off the racing line for him. Last left-hander turn, and then RP Lai is, yes, as expected, one position he swapped upwards against Leonard Cam. Another hot lap try here right now for Ricky Kuau, as the Renaults are important for tonight, and especially as his teammate is already out, it is very important what the Swiss man is doing here. The Swissonian coming towards the end of sector 2. Oh no, not a good lap time. I expect him to abort this lap and get himself a fresh set of red tire and then try again. Still 6 minutes left, so no hectic yet for him and all the other drivers. Jack Rognan again on a hard lap. There he is already towards the end of the lap. Here's the tunnel. Then this chicane and 2 more left-handers. And then he will post a 1 minute 35.0 new pole setter. Jack Rognan, well done, improving by a lot, 1.27 seconds, so you know the gap between mediums and softs on this track. Meanwhile, both the Williamses next to each other, Kantan and Blake Gary on 5 and 6. That is not bad, but as both the racing points are in the points too, P3 and 8, that would not be enough for the Williamses to be successful in their hunt against racing points, I got to say. So who is on hard lap? Let's have a look at Leonard Cam, Mr. McDonald right at the end of his hard lap. Oh yeah, improving by 1.3 seconds, but still it's just good enough for P8, so you know how big the gap was earlier. He is within a second of the pole setter. Yeah. Well, Singapore is tire-wise very complicated to do the right. You can easily make it wrong, but it's hard to make it right. Because in theory, if everything is running smoothly, you have a big advantage going with only one stop. But that pit stop delta is not that long, because pit lane is rather short and you cut one last corner with it a bit. The big question is, how will the weather be if there is some rain? I did not have a forecast yet. If there is some rain or not, and it's actually not the question if there will be a safety car. It's just the question when and how many safety cars you will see, and so really hard to tell what is the right thing to do here. Oh, next fan, Drive with Hardstyle. Welcome to the chat box. Next one to cheer on, the RP Lie. Still unsure how to pronounce him, but it's nice to see him having some fans here in his first MRS race and last MRS F120 race. And we will see. Hopefully he will be our guest and maybe even a full-time driver then when we turn into F121. So what else is going on? We see the first one who is on a hard lap. That is our Gorilla, the Trilla Gorilla in the Red Bull, replacing David Lawson tonight. Let's see. Oh no, there is some kind of malfunction. That lap data is not correct. Now it's correct. Is it correct? I don't know. 3.5 minutes does not seem correct. Let's just wait and see where this time will bring him to. Further, our cook, has just started another hard lap in the Mercedes. In last position. For him goes the same as I said about RP Lai, as he is in his first MRS race here tonight. First race, likewise last race on the old game. Not improving, it's close, but not improving after Sector 1. Grimo! My goodness. Sadly, I didn't have it in the picture, but he's our new pole setter. He is finished. He will not have enough time to run again, but he might not have to run again. Mark Goodman, very late, jumping upwards over all the field. And the drivers behind him are all on out laps. The only one who is on a hot lap is maybe this man, Blake Gary. Not sure if this turn was really fast for him. Let's stay with him here until he reaches the end of Sector 2, and then next one is Rognan and Kuao, who went on hot laps. Oh, there he hit the wall. There you see the debris flying off. That is it for his qualifying. Yes, he is slow. So, and oh, now he is in the wall in total. So let's have a look. Kuao, no improvements after Sector 1. What does Rognan do? Slight improvements at the end of Sector 1. If he stays where he is right now, on this improvement he has in his hands, it would be barely enough to beat Grimo. Let's see what Sector 2 brings for him. Ooh, that is not enough. That would not be enough. He would not even attack Kantan, and Kantan himself, he has a little bit of improvement after Sector 1. What is Dominic Walsh doing? Nothing, no improvements for him. What is Tom Walsh doing? Didn't see it. Let's have a short look at Rognan as he is getting closer to the end of his lap. One left-hander left, and then it will be pole for Rognan. 12,000. He beat Grimo. And Kantan is fast too. 2.5 tenths his improvement. And that would be enough. To give Williams the pole here in this race. He's under the tunnel. Now it's Dominic Walsh. Now it is Dominic Walsh in the pole. Did not look good for him after Sector 1, but in the end it was good enough to beat Rognan by over 2 tenths. And now Kantan. It is on. Kantan and Tom Walsh improved too. Wow, what a really interesting late quali here in Singapore. Multiple pole setter changes within the last 2 minutes. From Grimo to Rognan to the Walshes and then Kantan. And now we should be finished. We wait until RP Lai is being pushed into the pits, and then this starting grid is official for the race. So here is our starting grid from the qualifying. This is Kantan in the pole, beating Dominic Walsh and Thomas Walsh. In 4th, Jagger Rognan. 5 then goes to Grimo Goodman. 6, Sergi Kuao. 7th, Nevis Ikic. 8, Blake Gary. 9, Leonard Cam. P10, Mike Taylor. P11, free option of tires. Then for RP Lai, I think his name is Gregory Mortier. P12, then Martin Ward. 13, the Teller Gorilla. 14, Andrew Mont. 15, the Belgium chef. And 16, no time set for Peter Simpson. So I was just looking it up. I think that it's Gregory Mortier. He posted a link to his Twitch account, and I was just checking it, and I think it should be him. Will confirm it as soon as I can. While we see that the race start will be in dry condition, at least the start will be. And our drivers have half a minute left to get the strategy sorted out and the starting tires, at least if they are P11 onwards. I will be back with you in a moment. So, two information I can hand you now. First, after I was stalking Gregory Mortier, I can tell you that Greg is not the RP Lie. Greg Mortier is the FX chef in the Mercedes. So, Gregory Mortier, our cook, our prime cook. And second, I can tell you, after I had a look into his race strategy, that this will be a dry race. So there is no rain expected for the whole event. And these are the tires that are used here for this race. The top 10 starts on softs, just as they have to. Likewise does Martin Ward in P12, Mercyman, and then we see a whole lot of mediums, RP Lai, Trilla Gorilla, Monster, and Gregory Mortier, the chef. In 16th, last position, the champion is in last, ironically. Peter Simpson, he opted to start on hards. I admit I don't like starting on hards too much, because you lose really a lot of grip on the start, on the early few laps. And even more important, you have only one set of hearts. So if you want to make them work, you must run long on them. And that means you just cannot have front wing damage on the start or early in the race. Because if you need a pit stop for Nuno's, this single one set of hearts is wasted. But okay, we will wait and see what will happen. I was working with one league, the L2S community, and there was one driver. He just never qualified. He just didn't want to run in quali. He always started in the last row and always started on hards. So he always did this strategy that I don't like. Yeah, sometimes he made up some points from it, but was of course a major challenge for him to get into the points from last position. Anyway, the last race is set. 31 laps we will have us here tonight in Singapore for our the finale, the last event, the 5 red lights of Singapore, and then MIS, let's go for the last time on F1 2020. Not a good start from Dominic Walsh, it must have been, so that gives P2 to his brother Tom Walsh, but at least he was able to survive or to defend P4. In the background, let's try to stay with them a bit. We see no big issues, no yellow, no debris. So everything went rather okay and smoothly. We see a lot of ups and downs in the midfields, but no big collisions or issues. What is a little surprise here in Singapore. Peter Simpson already up into 13th. Oh, very bad start for Martin Ward, down to P16 at last, -4 for him. So, we are still here, or we were still here in the midfield. P8, Mike Taylor now chasing Lanarkham, single Scotsman, single McLaren driver. And overall, it was a very clean and very smooth start. Let's see if we will have the good old community lobby glitch as soon as we turn towards lap 2. Here we go again. Here's the good old glitch. From day 1 to the last day in this game, every time the same. I sincerely hope this will be different in a new game. Did not have a stream yet. And some slide from Lanarkham, and that invites Taylor. Some tags, but no bigger issue, I think. Attack here at the end of the DRS zone, but no DRS activated, of course, yet. Just at in the next lap then. Oh, and there must have been some contact from our chef. There must have been some issue for him. So let's have a look what's going on the front rows. Kantan still ahead of Thomas Walsh. And these are the teams that are battling for the third spot in the constructors. Williams chasing Racing Point. Williams needs to make up 12 points right now. Kantan beats Tom Walsh. And Blake Gary beats Mike Taylor. But I think it would not be enough yet. So they need to make up a little bit more positions. FX Chef was in trouble there under the bridge. It caused a yellow. And he will need to have an early pit stop, I think. And here is the first DRS attack. Yes, there it is. Wheel to wheel. And it worked. It was hard, but he muscled through. Well done, Tom Walsh. That puts Kantan in the trailing position. Let's see if he can counter it sooner or later in the next few turns. It's not possible. Cannot overtake in these turns, even though here's a DRS zone, but this is, just for the beep. No other real effect of this DRS zone. FX Chef, by the way, Gregory Mortier already had a pit stop going from mediums to mediums. Right here was his problem under the bridge. Kantan had to lift a bit, but he is very close here now at the start-finish straight. Another short DRS zone again, just for the fun of opening the rear wing, but he dares to attack, and he pushed through. Wow, did not expect that, because now the only one real long DRS zone is now in favor of the Racing Point. We see some yellow. Mercyman, Thriller Gorilla and Mike Taylor in the pits. And that is a big problem for the Red Bulls. Yes, here it is. Thriller Gorilla is getting a new nose, and that means that Martin Ward has to wait and wait and wait. Oh, that is sad. Plus a penalty to serve. Mike Taylor was in the pits too. That pushes the second Racing Point out of the points. And that would give the Williams the lift they need. That would mean Williams would be in third in the constructors by the looks of things right now. The top three are more or less matching each other's pace, even though Kantan is running away a little bit now, pushing Walsh out of the DRS window. Pushing both the Walshes out of the each windows. And then there is a 4 seconds gap to Mark Goodman in fourth. What would push him over his teammate in the driver standings, by the way. So Andrew Mond is in 8th, 6 points ahead of Goodman, and Goodman would blast those 6 points right now with 12 he would earn. Oh, and Tom Walsh in the pits. What happened there? This looks like a very early pit stop for soft starters. But it's only a tire change. No damage for him. More pit stops. Blake Gary and Leonard Cam too. Only tires for Blake Gary. I didn't see Leonard Cam, but I suppose that all of those 3 or 4 pitters in this lap only came in for fresh tires, so you see how early, how fast those softs degrade. Oh, I heard Gregory Mortier. I still have his live stream open, and he just announced the good old F word. So sadly didn't see it as I have too many windows open, but I think we all can imagine what meant that, what caused that. And meanwhile, Peter Simpson is up into 7th. He has managed to stay out of any early troubles. His front wing is still intact. And that makes him, P7 is quite good, I would like to say, as he is running on the slowest of tires possible. So not a bad early race for him. Kantan in the pits. Kantan on mediums now, so that means he does not intend to go through, of course. He must have another stop. He's down to P9, just 6/10 ahead of Dominic Walsh, and you can see how the undercut of Tom Walsh worked, because Kantan was the leader. Dominic Walsh was over 2 seconds away from him, and now he is just within half a second. While I see on the live stream Gregory Mortier intense front wing damage, so he just was in the pits. He is 16th and he will pit again now. Plus a 5 seconds penalty for speeding in a pit lane. Unlucky event for him, but that is just what this track brings with it. Let's see when the other top runners will pit. Probably will not take too long, and there they go. There is Grimo in, Rognian in, and Kuau in. Let's stay with them. Let's have a look where they will be after the pit stops. Yellow in sector 1. Already vanished. Grimo still ahead of Rognan, so the order stays the same. Behind that is Ekic in 2. And Leonard Cam is ahead of Grimo and Rognan. Have a look. He wasn't in this position, so just sign, just a display of how the undercut can work. Oh, and the gorilla is out. The gorilla is out. He retired in the pit lane. The Trilla gorilla decided to call it the night. That's a bit sad, of course. But he, quit tonight. That's it for him for F1 2020. Hope I will see you again on the new game then in 3 weeks. And now Thomas Walsh is in the lead, and right when I say it, he is into the pits, and we have seen... Oh, safety car! My goodness, safety car! Oh. Gregory Mortier it was, who has crashed, and... Oh, that could be very, very important for Tom Walsh now. He came in the right time. Tom Walsh on hards. He might try to go through, maybe. So RP Lai decided to stay out. Likewise to Peter Simpson, of course. Simpson on the hards. He must run long. Oh, and what was wrong there with Tom Walsh? Not sure. I think he dropped a few positions. He ran into the wall. My goodness, have a look. No front wing. No end plates for Tom Walsh. Oh my goodness. Sadly, I didn't see it. That is a big problem for him. He needs to stop again. Then he has wasted the set of hearts, just as I said it earlier. Crashing on the safety car. That is really, really evil. 5 seconds penalty for Kantan for tagging Tom Walsh. And Tom Walsh will drop into last position. And that will be a major blow for his Racing Point team in the battle for third. Mike Taylor will then be in his 8th position, but that is not enough. Ironically, that would be right enough, because Cadeley Kantan gets 15 points. They are 12 points behind. And Thomas Walsh Mike Taylor would make 4 points. So that would keep him ahead by just 1 point. One single point, and that one single point Blake Gary might make as soon as he overtakes Andrew Mond. So that is something we have to have an eye on. We have to watch for the rest of the night. Fresh mediums and the fresh nose for the Racing Point, and then he's not even last. There must have been some big problem for Nebesekic because he's so far behind. And so it is RP Lai who is leading the field in his first MRS race. Safety car lights still flashing. That means we will have us another lap of safety car, and I think that will be. Oh no! Now here's the call. Here is the message from race control that Bernd Mailänder will take to the pit lane here. Let's see how RP Lai will pace the field, how he will do the restart procedure. And right behind him in P2 is Peter Simpson. So RP and Simpson, the only drivers who did not stop yet, still racing on their starting tire, and that gave them P1 and 2. And here we go into the wall, my goodness. Oh, and this has had a big effect. That might be right in another safety car. Wheel to wheel here. It is still yellow. No, it's not yellow. Can't push through. My goodness, what an evil event here on the restart. Some Mugello-like chaos as RP Lai went from first to last as he lost his car on acceleration in the last turn. In the last turn of the safety car lap. And I think there was someone else involved. I just couldn't see it right. I think, I just thought it was a McLaren, and that would fit because Leonard Cam is in 13th and second last. So, highly unlucky situation there for not only one, at least two drivers who came together there in a very, very bad luck moment. And there was some more coming together because it is Dominic Walsh who lost an end plate, who ran into the wall while overtaking Peter Simpson. The big duel from season 1, Dom Walsh against Simo. And does Walsh need a pit stop? Yes, he does. Into the pits, and then he will be last. Oh no, RP Lai will still be behind him because he needs a new nose too. So, Pete Simpson second again. But it was a big showcase how the fresh mediums are faster than his old hards. The next man to challenge him on fresh mediums is Mark Goodman. Did he tag the wall there? If he did, his front wing is still intact. And then in fourth there is Torpedo Jack Rognan. Pit stops Walsh, Lai, Leonard Cam, all of them. And there is a Williams ahead. There's a Williams ahead. There was just one Williams ahead. Cantan lost it. Cantan ran into the wall there. Yes, it is just Singapore. It is Singapore. Wall after wall after wall. Almost as Monaco. Lots of chaos involved. And let's try to get a look at his front wing. Yeah, it seems intact. It might not need an extra pit stop, but he dropped to P8. Both the Williams in P8 and 10, and that would save the racing points then. P4 and 6, not the brightest sunlight for racing point either! And now he needs a pit stop. Oh no, that was Gary, that was Blake Gary, oh my goodness. Both the Williamses touching the wall in one same lap. And Gary stays out. He tries to push through a little bit longer. Let's see how well that will work out for him then. And Simo in the lead. Starting in last, now he leads, but he will soon be challenged by the next medium runner, that is Torpedo Jack. And this is actually a valid battle. They are on the same strategy. Both still need one more pit stop. Rognan cannot go through on the mediums he runs on right now. He will try to run as long as he can so that he can finish on mediums then. And Peter Simpson will run a few more laps on these hards and then finish on mediums. So both will try to finish the race on mediums. Both with one more stop. And right now, Rognan is in an advantageous position. He's on the faster tire right now. He is all over Seymour's rear in the DRS zones. And they will have the same sets of tire in the end. So no advantage later than for Seymour. They will be level later. Now the advantage for Rognan. DRS is activated and this is just too short. Let's stay with Rognan for a few more turns for one more DRS zone coming up right now. And Gary pitting now. Likewise to Taylor and Mercy Man. Here's the DRS zone. Will there be an attack? DRS overtake mode activated. Outside lane. No. No. And from now on, for the rest of the lap, it will not work again. He should know it, Jack Rognan should know it. He has doing his best to shake off his torpedo Jack mentality. He's only Jack without torpedo anymore. And yeah, these laps here behind Peter Simpson will show us if that is right. And Ricky Kuao is not too far away either. And that is important because it is Renault versus Ferrari for the Constructors' Championship. The Renaults must make up 28 points. I need to get my calculator out. Just a moment. Yeah, they would make up 22 points right now. They would make up 22 of 28 points. So that means if Rognan stays where he is, if he stays on the podium, even if it would be a 1-2 for Renault, everything is fine for the Scuderia. And on the other hand, the Frenchies must hope that Rognan commits some kind of a mistake. And as the walls are so close, a mistake is close too. But Peter Simpson is holding up this group a little bit. That is visible. Didn't think I would ever say this, that Seymour is holding up anyone, but it is just this way right now, as he is running on the old set of hards against the rather fresh mediums. And we have seen it already multiple times in this race that the mediums, a fresh medium is just a lot faster than hards. So all this filmed to us from the camera view of Tom Walsh in the Racing Point. The Racing Points mentioned it, still something at stake for them too, but they are 12 points up on the Williamses. And both Williams have ruined each's race a little bit here in this first half of the race. So right now it is rather smooth sailing for the Racing Points. No pressure as things stand right now, at least. So Tom Walsh can easily enjoy this race and just have himself a good close out of this season where he just missed the championship. He finished third in season 1, he finished second in season 2, so really consecutive good seasons for him. Just not quite good enough for the big score. And ahead we can see that Rognian is really faster, it seems, than Simo, but he just cannot get ahead. A little bit like Alonso versus Hamilton in Budapest 3 days ago. But for the moment, first thing for Tom Walsh to achieve would be an overtake against Ricky Kuao. That should be his first thought. And this, it's hard to achieve as Kuao is DRS equipped just as he is. Simo supplying everyone of this group with DRS. And maybe this group is likewise a little bit of wait for a mistake. Mistakes can so easily be made here on this track, and it's just waiting, trying not to commit it on myself, waiting who will it be who commits the first one, and then trying to exploit it. That's how the situation feels to me a little bit. Andrew Mond is in the pit, 8 laps on his mediums. I suppose the mediums would last a little bit longer, but it seemed like a rather fast stop. That did not seem long enough for having a new nose necessary. And right now it seems that Tom Walsh needs to let the drivers ahead go a little bit. At least it seems like he's a little bit further away now. Behind Walsh, big gap, 13.5 seconds to Grimmo Goodman. Now he is closer to Kuao again. Sure, just no one able to overtake here. Everyone racing behind each other. The big wait for the next issue, for the mistake, for a next safety car, anything like that. The Williams says 8th and 9th, no threat still for the racing points. Only because Tan threw it away. If Tan would still be leading, this situation would be a whole lot different for everyone, even for the Ferrari Renault situation. Then in 6 and 7, both the Alfa Romeo. And there was a monster crawling out of some wall or something. Mercyman has a damaged front wing too, and Leonard Cam, no, he not. So there might have been some coming together between Andrew Mond and Martin Ward. Both will turn towards the pit lane, I suppose. And so does Tom Walsh. Fresh mediums for the... Oh, Leonard Cam is out! Oh my goodness! That looked really evil. That looked evil here under the bridge. Safety car, safety car. This is the moment for our top four. They will all come in now. Big crash from Leonard Cam, almost blocking the road. Sad end for him for this season. So, Simo, Rognan, Kuau, Walsh. That's the order before the pit stops. Let's see if it will be the same after their each final pit stop. Everyone will stop for mediums and finish the race on it. And then we will have a 11 or 12 laps of green racing condition. The last 10 and 11, 12 hot laps to finish, to close out the season. They are all in. Are they all in? Tom Walsh goes through. Oh my! Thomas Walsh went through. That was a mistake. Yeah, sorry you say so, but that was a mistake. Fresh mediums for Simpson, Rognan. And Nicky Kuau had to wait. Because Pete Simpson was in, Kuau had to wait, but the gap was so big, he should still be in his fourth position. Yes, Skrimo comes in, Ikic in, so Kuau will be and will stay in fourth. I am wondering why Tom Walsh did not pit. He is a smart driver, he is a clever man, I know him very well. He surprised me already a few times with a very clever strategy, but yeah, not too sure what that one was about. And now Tom Walsh pits and ruins his race. He will be last then. Oh, who knows? Aye. Now I need to get my calculator out again. Kantan in fourth. He will try to go through till the end of the race, but he will endure some difficulties on the hards against the medium runners around him. So he is likely to drop a few positions. For P4 he would get 12 points. That's right, the 12 the Williams need. Gary would add another 4. So they would be over the racing points, and with Mike Taylor out, it is only Tom Walsh who is still there to defend. He on his softs can make up a few positions, but it is still 11 laps of racing, my dear friends. 11 laps. I doubt that Walsh will go through 11 laps on softs. We have seen the first pit stoppers in lap 5 from the start. Okay, these softs are fresh. Okay, but I doubt that he can run all the 11 laps until the end of the race on this set. So right now, depending on how many positions the Williams might lose, because they run both hards, but right now it looks a bit into the Williams direction for P3 in the overall standings of the constructors in the end. So safety car lights are still flashing. We will have us another lap of safety car, and I will be silent a little bit and try to ease my lungs a little bit. I'm back in a moment. So once again in this season, Peter Simpson is pacing the field here in the last sector of a safety car phase for the last time. The last 10 laps are on. 10 and a half right now, 10 then under green condition, and 8 with DRS being activated. And it is still on, the fight Renault against Ferrari. It would now still look in the Ferrari direction. Ferrari is still safe as a Constructors champion as long as Rognan doesn't throw it away. And then the big question is Williams against Racing Point. What will happen around them? Here is the restart. Peter Simpson doing well. And then we see a Racing Point in the background. That is Tom Walsh. That is Tom Walsh. He did the same as RP Lai a few laps earlier, and this is potentially the final blow for the Racing Points in their fight for P3. And now he's out. Now he is out. Not sure if he did it on purpose or if he was just a lot too fast for the limited downforce on the front wing. Anyway, this is it for the racing points. No points while racing for Racing Point. In this final race of the season, Grimo has dropped down to P8 only. He had a lot of better race. Now only 8th anymore. And with 8th for Grimo, that would mean that Andrew Mond would stay ahead in P8 over his teammate. But the big question is, how many points will the Williamses acquire? Kantan P5, that would give him 10. Gary in 7, that would make 6, so 16 points, and they must make up 12. So right now it would look good for the Williamses, but I mentioned it, they have to run to the end of the race on a set of hards. And the hards are just a lot slower than the mediums on this track. We have seen that already a few times here on this evening. Peter Simpson has crawled away by almost 2 seconds from Rognan, and Rognan then is under pressure from Kuau, and this is the view from Dominic Walsh. Gregory Mortier, by the way, meanwhile told us he's gutted about his DNF. Yeah, I can imagine. I watched it with half an eye, I would like to say. So it's just a typical Singapore incident you had. Can happen on this track as well as Monaco, as well as Hanoi, but Hanoi luckily has waved goodbye. We will have another similar track incoming with Jeddah some later time. But this is not sure yet, at least not how evil Jeddah will be. So let's wait for it. Oh, and Baku, of course. Baku can be similar, yeah. Anyway, Simpson is running away. The lead and the win in the final race looks very much like in the hands of Peter Simpson once again. The question is who will accompany him on the final podium. There are multiple drivers very close. Kantan is in the mix too, but as I said, on the slowest possible tire. And let's have a short look about the penalties. There are not many, but we should have an eye on them. +3s for Nevis Ekic. Not a problem right now, as he is 5.5 seconds ahead of Gary. And a +3 for Martin Ward. He is far behind, so that is not be a big issue too. RP Lai has a +5 for speeding in the pit lane, and that will be a problem because the man behind him, Andrew Mond, is within the 5 seconds window. And that would give Andrew Mond the push ahead if things stay as they are. Still 7 laps remaining. Yeah, Simo just running away in the typical Michael Schumacher kind of way he did in his prime years. Oh, yellow in sector 3. There was it Ikic? Yes, it was Ikic. Massive front wing damage for the German, for the Schwabe. And he did not pit. My goodness, he did not pit. So much front wing damage for him, but he didn't pit. I'm not sure if he missed the pit entry or if he is really intending to go through the race on this heavily wrecked front wing. He will be easily overtaken by Andrew Mond right now. There is another battle from an Alpha Tauri. Grimmo against Blake Gary. Gary tagged him. Oi, oi, oi. Where is he? Where is he? There he is. Still running. Still running. Ah. And now all of a sudden it would not be enough anymore for the Williamses to attack the Racing Points. Racing Point is 12 points ahead. Khan makes 10. Gary 1 means 11. Racing Point would stay ahead by one single point. One single Racing Point. Oy. But okay, the race isn't over yet. Still 6 laps left where someone could run into the barrier and give Gary an additional point or maybe 2. Blake Gary should stay in 10th. Mercyman is so far behind. Let's have a look what the other Williams is doing. I don't know if they talk to each other. I don't know if they have a party going on. Anyway, it's all about Kantan here right now. And if Kantan overtakes Dom Walsh, then it would work again. Because then Khan makes 12 points, right? Those 12 they need to make it level, and Gary, if he stays 10th, he would get the 1 point that would push him ahead. Would push them ahead. So many ifs and whats and whens. And it's 5 laps still remaining. I remember the season finale of last season, of season 1. There was even more. There was a lot more at stake. There was a lot more to be decided. Excuse me. This time I was not able to turn the microphone off quickly enough. Yeah, in season 1 we had one so incredible dramatic season finale between Peter Simpson and Dominic Walsh. Peter Simpson chased Walsh before the last race. He was leading late in the race, and something like I'm not so sure, 5 laps or so before the season was out, Simo spun on the parking lots of Australia and gifted the championship to Dominic Walsh. This year was not as dramatic. It's not as dramatic. It's just a lot of tension and excitement between or for some constructors. Yes, constructors. Ferrari against Renault. So as things stand, with 2nd position for Rocknean, Ferrari would still be ahead. Ferrari would even still be ahead if Rocknean is 3rd. What he is now. Kuao ahead of Rocknean. 3rd would still be okay for Jack Rocknean. And now I need my calculator again. What happens if he is 4th? If Rocknean is 4th, if Dominic Walsh overtakes Rocknean, Renault is Constructors' Championship. Constructors' Champion. So with the 1-2 of Renault and only 12 points for Rocknean, that would mean that Renault makes up 31 points, and Renault, and they would need 28 to make up, and that would be just it. Oh. I'm not so sure how aware Rocknean is of his situation, or if he's listening to me, or if maybe he has some other admin, or maybe Vanderbrill on his ears. Kantan is out! My goodness! Kantan is out! Where is he? There is a wrecked Williams How did that happen? Out of the last turn, we've seen multiple drivers spinning in the last turn. We cannot depict it again. RP Lai is too far away, and Andrew Mond went into the pits. And that is it for the Williams. That's it for Williams. Gary would need to get onto the podium to attack the Racing Points. That Blake Gary will not make. He just is too far away for the last 3.5 laps. So Racing Point making no points in this race, but they are safe. And Rockman has a drive-through penalty. Jack Rocknan has a drive-through penalty for speeding under the pit lane. Speeding under VSC. Oi, how big is that? How big is that? And that is it. That's it for the constructors. It is decided. It is decided. I was just about to calculate some ups and downs for some more points and what ifs and so whatever when Kantan dropped out, caused the VSC, and that causes Ferrari to lose the Constructors' Championship. My goodness. He has still more laps, still 2 more laps to serve the penalty. If he does not, he will get disqualified. His teammate committed this mistake once, Janne Vanderbilt, I think it was in Russia. So in case Rognan has me on his ear, do serve it. Do not try to run through. The Constructors' Championship is gone anyway, so you were fighting hard, you were fighting good alone in the last, I think, 3 races, since Vanderbilt sadly had to pull out due to some real-life commitments. But Simo, with winning the Drivers' Championship, just made so many points that it was just impossible for both the very well working, very good strategy-wise driving Ferrari drivers. They were really good, but just not good enough to beat the Drivers' Champion plus his teammate Ricky Kuao, who actually makes it possible here with his second position. I mean, it's it is not a surprise that we see Simo winning, even though he started in the last row. Just wanted to mention it. Simo can always win a race when he is fast and on the right strategy. But in the end, it was Kuao who made it possible for the Renaults, at least here today. Rognan still didn't pit, so he has one more chance, otherwise he will be disqualified. Yeah, so that is it. Dear MIS fans, we have 2 laps, 11 point something kilometers in total left to close out this season, to enjoy and celebrate a really strong and good MRS second season. It was a pleasure for me to be part of it, at least almost the whole season. In season 1 I joined some way midway through, some October phase, some Wednesday in October it was, I think it lapped around 10 of 23. And this year, the second season, I was there from day 1. Sadly, had to pause once for holiday and twice for health reasons. But still, it was a very, very cool season, very great season. I am very grateful to have been part of it, at least on the vast majority of races. And I'm looking forward to MIS going into season 3 in 3 weeks. With sadly a few changes. I mentioned it. David Lawson, the admin Janne Vanderbrill, both will not be able to be with us for the start of the season. Those two are a big part of the heart and soul of this league. Rognan is disqualified, just as expected. He tried it, but failed, just like his teammate did in Russia. And Dominic Walsh now in third. There he is. Yeah, positive end to a mediocre season. He was season 1 champion, but totally was not up for it to defend his title. Not a good season for him. And he will finish now in the overall standings in P5. That is just not where a champion wants to be. He started the tradition that the MRS champion has to do a little shoey at the winning end of the season. He did it. Peter Simpson, by the way, obeyed to the tradition. So, yeah, Dom Walsh started it. Seymour made it a tradition. And who else will be the future champions of MRS? They will have to do so too. That's why I already proposed or suggested to call the MRS trophy the Shui trophy. And the final turn of the final race, season 2, is over. Congrats, our champion, Peter Simpson. Congratulations, Renault, for the 1 and 2. 1-2 Renault, giving them the Drivers and Constructors Championship. Congratulations, Cyril Abiteboul. Congratulations, Peter Simpson and Ricky Kuau, for a really, really strong season. And P3, the final podium, goes to Dominic Walsh for a positive end of this season. So we officially finish the session on the podium on the view from Dom Walsh. And we will see, the driver of the day, last race's driver of the day, Peter Simpson. Here's the final podium, the last time we will see a podium on F1 2020. This game will be archived afterwards. This was my last stream of F1 2020. I did not have an 21 stream yet due to my health situation, but that will hopefully soon to come. And here's the final result after penalties. Peter Simpson has won it ahead of his teammate 1-2 Renault, Ricky Kuau. In third, Dominic Walsh. Fourth, strong race, then dropped down a lot and came back. Grimo Goodman, great race for him, finishing ahead of his teammate. Same goes for him. Not a good quali, not a good first half of the race. And all of a sudden, after 4 pit stops, Andrew Mon gets 10 points for P5. P6 then in the end for Blake Gary. 7th in his debut, RP Lai in the Haas. P8, another 4 points for Martin Ward. P9th in the end for Khan Tan, who is plus 4 laps. So he is still in the classification. 10th DNF'd, but gets a point probably. Nevis Ekic, and the rest of the pack did not finish. That is Thomas Walsh, Mike Taylor, Stuart McDonald, Trilla Gorilla, the FX Chef, Gregory Mortier, and disqualified for not listening to me, Jack Rocknan. So, what else is left for me to say? Thank you everyone for being part of the MRS. Thanks for listening and watching me and us Wednesday in, Wednesday out. It was a pleasure for me to bring you the MRS to stream it to you home into your living room. I hope that you will be with us again as soon as it is August 25. Then we will start into season 3 on the new game. That will be in Interlagos, Brazil. And until then, our drivers have a few weeks of time for some break, for some getting acquainted to the new game. And what else can I say? Thanks for being with us. I hope you enjoyed it tonight as well as the whole season. And I hope to see you again in the new game then very soon, hopefully. Have a nice evening. Stay safe in these times. I know now what I'm speaking of. And keep racing.